The question came so suddenly that the entire room seemed to freeze. A little girl stood in the middle of the crowded hospital hallway, her tiny fingers gripping the edge of her father's worn jacket. Her big brown eyes were fixed on the elegant woman standing across from them, a woman whose face had just turned pale with shock. "Why does your daughter look just like me?" No one spoke. For a moment, even the sound of the hospital machines and distant footsteps faded into silence. The man beside the little girl lowered his head slowly, as if he had been waiting for this moment for years. His name was Daniel Carter, a quiet single father who had spent the last 6 years raising his daughter alone. To most people, he was just an ordinary maintenance worker at the hospital, the kind of man people passed in the hallway without ever noticing. But today, everything was about to change. 6 years earlier, Daniel's life had already been shattered once. Back then, he wasn't the tired man with shadows under his eyes. He was a young paramedic who believed in saving people. Every day he rushed into emergencies, carrying strangers to safety, hoping that somehow his work made the world a little better. Then came the night that changed everything. It was raining hard, the kind of storm that made the streets blur under flashing ambulance lights. Daniel and his partner had responded to a call about a car accident on a lonely road outside the city. When they arrived, the wreckage was devastating. One car had flipped into a ditch, the other was barely recognizable. Inside the overturned car, Daniel found a young pregnant woman unconscious in the driver's seat. Her pulse was weak, her breathing shallow. There was no time to waste. He pulled her from the wreckage and rushed her into the ambulance. But something was terribly wrong. Halfway to the hospital, her heart stopped. Daniel fought desperately to save her, performing CPR as the ambulance sped through the storm. Every second felt like a lifetime. Then something unexpected happened. The monitors showed faint movement, not from the woman, but from the baby she was carrying. The child was still alive. Doctors rushed the woman into emergency surgery the moment they arrived. Daniel waited outside the operating room, drenched in rain and guilt, praying for a miracle. But the miracle never came for the mother. She didn't survive the night. The baby did. Daniel expected the child to be taken into state care, but the situation became complicated. The woman had no identification, no family records, no contacts. It was as if she had appeared from nowhere. Weeks passed. The baby girl remained in the hospital nursery, waiting for someone who never came. Daniel visited her almost every day. At first he told himself it was just curiosity, but deep down he knew the truth. He couldn't forget that night. He couldn't forget the tiny life he had helped bring into the world while losing another. Eventually, the hospital arranged for the child to enter foster care. That was the moment Daniel made a decision that would change his life forever. He adopted her. He named her Lily. Raising Lily wasn't easy. Daniel worked long hours, often taking extra shifts just to afford daycare and school supplies. There were nights he fell asleep at the kitchen table with unpaid bills scattered around him. But every morning, Lily's smile made the struggle worth it. She grew into a bright, curious little girl who loved drawing pictures of the two of them together. To her, Daniel wasn't just a father, he was her whole world. For 6 years, their quiet life remained simple. Until today. The elegant woman standing across the hospital hallway was Victoria Hale, one of the wealthiest business owners in the city. She had come to the hospital to donate millions toward a new children's wing. Everything had been going perfectly. Then she saw Lily. The moment Victoria looked at the little girl, something inside her shifted. The resemblance was impossible to ignore. The same eyes. The same face. Even the same tiny birthmark near her ear. Victoria had spent years trying to forget a painful chapter of her life. Years ago, her younger sister had disappeared after leaving home during a family conflict. The sister had been pregnant, and she had never been found. Victoria's voice trembled when she asked the question that stopped everyone in their tracks. "Why does your daughter look exactly like me?" Daniel closed his eyes for a moment. He had always known this day might come. Slowly, he knelt beside Lily and placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Then he looked at Victoria. 6 years of silence finally broke. He explained the accident, the storm, the unidentified woman who never survived the night. As he spoke, Victoria's hands began to shake. Tears streamed down her face as the truth slowly connected the pieces she had been searching for all these years. The woman in the accident wasn't a stranger. It was her sister. The sister she had spent years trying to find. The sister she had never forgiven before she disappeared. Victoria collapsed into a chair, overwhelmed with emotion. The room around them blurred as memories flooded back, the arguments, the harsh words, the regret she had carried ever since. And standing right in front of her was the living proof that her sister's story hadn't completely ended. Lily. For a long moment, Victoria simply looked at the little girl. Then Lily stepped forward with the innocent curiosity only a child could have. She gently touched Victoria's hand. And in that small moment, something extraordinary happened. The pain that had divided their lives began to soften. Victoria looked at Daniel, her voice barely above a whisper. "You saved her." Daniel shook his head slowly. "No," he said quietly, "she saved me." Because the truth was, Daniel had been lost long before that rainy night. Losing the woman in the ambulance had haunted him for months. The guilt nearly destroyed him. But Lily gave his life meaning again. She gave him a reason to keep going. Victoria understood something important then. Family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about the people who choose to stay, who choose to love, even when life gives them every reason to walk away. Victoria didn't try to take Lily away. Instead, she did something far more powerful. She asked if she could be part of her life. And Daniel said yes. Because Lily didn't lose a father that day. She gained a family she never knew she had. Years later, people would still talk about the moment that little girl asked the question that changed everything. But the real story wasn't about resemblance. It was about love. The kind of love that shows up in the hardest moments. The kind of love that builds families from broken pieces. And if this story touched your heart, remember something important. Sometimes the answers we fear the most lead us to the people we were meant to find all along. So if you believe in stories about hope, second chances, and the quiet power of love, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories that remind us all why the human heart is stronger than we think.